is very different. It's issued by the central bank, authorized by the parliament. It needs to be legal, and also the money will be anchored to the nation's credibility. From the essence, you will know all currencies issued by the central bank is basically the debt. Bitcoin's value has been anchored on the underground market on the internet, which is very huge. According to my calculations, 1.5 trillion US dollar a year. So Bitcoin does have a value, but most of the value is something you don't like to see. And about Libra, that's something even we cannot see the true value inside of it. They just tried to invent a digital currency to pay for the Facebook services all over the world. It's doomed to be a failure because the universal currency cannot exist at this stage of a human being, because the different countries and regions' productivity is different.
So when they came up with a white paper promoting Libra, they are interested in getting approval from regulators around the world. But still, it's not going to be the case. Ultimately, what a government would like to see, it's an alternative that will help them to improve management of flows in a monetary system. And the only way to provide that is going to be through a native developed option such as the digital currency electronic payment system.
I think China wants to issue the digital currency. The reason is like many other countries. Currently, we're using a parallel system. One is digital payment, but on the other hand, we use physical fiat money. It's like the paper cash. The two system goes on very well with each other, but still there are many disadvantages. It's like underground market, anonymous money, and money laundering. So if we can introduce in the digital currency, which is anonymous in the front desk, but with a real name keeping in the back stage, and then a lot of this kind of problem can be dodged. Electronic payment can be very easily transferred outside the country border, which will make a country's capital account control policy to be in vain. I think digital currency can provide them this advantage. On one hand, you will see foreigners come to a country, they can register with a central government or central bank issued electronic wallet, and they can use the digital currency inside the border of a country like their citizens. But on the other hand, when they leave the country, their GPS locations and also their IP addresses will show them they're not in the country anymore. So they have to convert, the balance due into their own currency. So the monetary border can be protected. I think this is totally sufficient for the central bank to make the choice.
It's a very interesting time for the People's Bank of China to decide to move forward with the digital currency. The People's Bank of China will have a terrific visibility on what's happening in the economy. Another thing is to have a real-time monitoring of the system's flows with electronic cash. Obviously, that will help to monitor the health of the financial system, and also, in the case of crisis, to minimize the negative consequences of these type of situations. That's a great possibility at this moment. 80% of central banks around the world are looking at these opportunities to implement a digital currency. Why is that possible for China to take the lead?
Chinese central bank does have many advantages. For one hand, China has a very good electronic payment already. Alibaba, WeChat Pay, those tech giants already have very good infrastructures and technology for blockchain, for electronic payment network, and etc. And on the other hand, Chinese citizens has already been so adapted to the mobile payment. So people's habit has already been nurtured. And also China has a large market. So for China, if we want to adopt a new currency, use a new way of payment, the cost per capita can be very, very low since China has a large population. And also in China, I think the national policies and the market-driven business model are all coming towards, the internet pro policy and, online shopping pro, merchants. And I think no doubt China will be marching forward as one of the front runners.
China will depend on the buying from the technological giants at this moment like Tencent and Alibaba, and at the same time the support of commercial banks. As you know, the current financial system relies on these players in a big way. Banks rely on deposits from users to be able to make loans. Alipay and also Tencent rely on merchants' fees to fund their current operations. Why would they be motivated to change their way of working to a new currency, a new virtual currency? That is a big question.
Everybody knows about blockchain, about its distributed calculation, encrypted, very tough against the hackers. But also we're knowing that it's a low efficient technology. So is that really efficient for a giant economy like China and 1.4 billion people, or even in the future 7 billion people in the whole world to use it? How about the policies and regulations around it? Is that solid and sound? Can you make sure no one will find a loophole on it and start money laundering or some other illegal behavior like copy the currency, make themselves into a billionaire with this digital currency? Just imagine when a town in China just been hit by an earthquake, there's no signals and there's no power, and people cannot pay each other anymore. I think the disaster will be even bigger than earthquake itself. The whole society will fall apart because exchange stops. This scenario I just described above will not only hit China, it will be faced by many other countries in the world if they want to go this way.